Hey folks, it's me, Manic Mark, coming to you from the frigid bunker system with the new painting today. I'm wearing you always see me wearing the most crappy clothes I could possibly be wearing, right? That's because when I paint, I'm just so spontaneous that I don't have time to use a rag. I'm not a neat painter. In fact, when I'm painting like walls, which I do a lot of for folks, I just white paint on myself. I mean, I know some painters that they go through a whole day and they don't get any paint on themselves. I don't know how they do it. Anyway, it's going to be another long video today, and today's thought was I was just wondering if anybody ever thinks about stepping outside of themselves and taking a good look at themselves, like what's in them, actually inside of themselves. It's we're always looking outward, right? So we see these things that are outside of us, but we don't see what's inside of us. So the idea was, what if I just do an illustration a painting that illustrated the idea of turning everything inside out, so that we could see ourselves. And well, that's the idea. Then I got to thinking about, if you just turned everything inside out, what would you look like? Well, as I got to probably go over this again. I completely lost my train of thought here. Understanding your true self, what you're made of. And I thought, well, if we could turn ourselves inside out, we'd be able to see what we were made of, and we would understand ourselves better. So I thought, well, if you turn yourself inside out, what would you see? Well, I realized I was going to have to do a little reconstruction. The materials that you're in your body, if you turn the inside out, basically what's the center of your body, in most parts of your body, it would be your bone marrow. So if you turn that out and outside, and then you had the bone, so you had bone covered with bone marrow, and then it would be muscle mass and blood vessels, right? So the outside of your body is built of bone marrow and muscle, with the exception of your head. And the outside of your head would be it would be your brain, basically. I don't want to re-engineer the whole body, reverse engineer the whole body based on the molecular level. And I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to go with certain kind of components. So you have the brain on the outside, and then as you go in, there would be the next thing, I guess, would just be basically the skull, and your eyes would be inside. So you'd have to communicate with people and see things. You would see things telepathically, which maybe it would be better if you could see things telepathically. Maybe you would understand the real person that you are and how other people see you telepathically. So that's what I'm going to do here. That made a lot of sense. Your head would be made up of brains. It would look like a brain. It wouldn't look like a brain. The whole part of it wouldn't look like a brain. The top part of it would be a brain. Your skull would be on the inside. So what would be next? See, this is like a mind thing that's totally. What's inside your head? Your skull's turned inside out. This is so difficult to do. I didn't have any purple paint out, so I'm going to paint it's kind of a dark purple for the ground. Make this planet. Things wouldn't probably look exactly the same if we were born inside out, so that we could look at things. Things would all look different too. So, does anybody know what color bone marrow is? Is it pink or is it red? Is it I think it's kind of a mauve color, isn't it? Kind of like a little bit darker than pink. The Mystic Manic Mark question and answers. I've got the book of signs. What's in there? This is a hood ornament. It's got something on it. I don't know what the hell. I got to figure out something to do with this. I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to put it on a piece of art somewhere. I also have a little book on trees in North America, so I can probably answer questions about trees too. Use this. I found this. I'm going to use this. And I need bone marrow. I don't know. Oh, I got to finish painting the... Well, the thing of it is that you need to paint like yourself. Don't paint like me. I just invented all this stuff. Sort of. I was going to say you need to block in your colors. That's important, to block your colors in. All that means is you paint big fields of color however you want them. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm blocking my colors in. I'm just creating this this landscape, this foreign landscape, this new landscape. I like mountains, so I'm putting those in there. And yeah, I should have put some sky in there. See, the thing about doing real fake outsider art is that a real artist would have started blocking his colors going from back to front. Did I do that? No, I started from front to back. Did I do that on purpose? No, I'm just doing it the way it feels like I should do it. Not how I should do it, just the way it feels like I should do it. Which means if I'm thinking about yellow, or I'm thinking about sky, or I'm thinking about ground, I just paint that part. I don't care if it goes in front or behind. You see what I'm saying? You just do what you feel. You do what you want, basically. You do what you want. Make that kind of... blend it all together like there was atmosphere, some kind of atmosphere. Okay, now I'm also thinking about evolution. If these creatures, these human creatures, these inside-out human creatures, telepathic creatures evolved, they would have had to evolve with some... See, I'm thinking about the brain being exposed. How could you evolve as a creature on any planet and have your brain exposed, you know, to the elements? So what I'm thinking is they evolved with telepathic powers, like what do you call it, telekinesis. So they can, with telepathic powers, they can protect their brains. There's a sphere of paranormal telekinesis, telepathic brain power that surrounds their head. Okay, so that keeps the elements off, and the bone marrow will have to stay juicy somehow, and they must have some kind of like bone marrow sweat glands where they sweat whatever makes bone marrow wet. They can do that. So I think I need to put the shape of the creature, the inside out, the inside, the reflective. We just have to make up a name, the reflective creature. I think that's the reflective being. It's going to be the reflective being. The creature that's able, he's inside out, so he's able to see what his true nature is and who he truly is amongst all the other reflective beings. That's the name of the thing there, reflective being. Now where did I put my thing? There it is. I know this is not going to look like bone marrow, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, so if he's, would he have, what kind of shape would he have though? If there was bone marrow with encased in, the skeleton would have to be flexible. It would have to be bone, but some kind of flexible. Would it have joints? Would the bone have joints on the outside like a robot because of the way? Maybe it's jointed like a robot. So the bones are on the outside. I'm just like make a solid bone. Or should I make it like, it has to be because they like are inside out. The bones are inside out, so they're going to have to be, because everything else is going to have to be inside of them. So they're going to have to be bigger. Man, this is blowing my mind. So I'm going to draw big ribs in here, because these ribs are all full of, like the heart or something, you know, like the stomach and the spleen and the intestines. These ribs have to hold a lot of stuff. The spine's huge. It's going to be huge too. How do they mate? How do they mate? Because all the organs are on the inside of this creature. There's going to have to be an access, like an access for mating. Somehow there's going to have to be this access. Giant hip bones. Since they've evolved, see these creatures, these reflective beings, they're not, the races, you know, because we're comparing humans as they are now to what we are now. They're on the same level as human evolution, that I can put high-heeled shoes on these beans. They're more like old woman shoes, I guess. That's pretty good. And gloves. Maybe they always wear gloves, like dress gloves, like when you go out to the opera. They're wearing dress gloves because they're being reflective beings. They have a high level of refinement to their nature, so they go to a lot of opera. They would still have some skull would be showing, and eye sockets, but the eyes would be, since they're telepathic creatures, they don't use their eyes anymore. Their eyes are just like those fish in the caves. The jaw will have to be covered with bone marrow. The jaw will be covered with bone marrow. That looks pretty good right there. That's basically what they look like, I think. The brain is on the outside, protected by telepathic powers, because they're enlightened beings. They're known as reflective beings. Okay. All their internal organs are encased in large bones, and they kind of move like robots, because everything's jointed. Everything has joints. Another tree over here, but maybe in this case I'll just make it a pine tree. The reflective beings, they would have pets, because pets are good. Everybody loves pets. And the reflective beings having a higher level of sensibility, they would be more apt to have pets. But would the pets be inside out too? That's the question. It would have to be, because it's kind of like we are here. They would be reflective beings too. I don't know if I like that cat. Maybe I just need to show how they get around their planet over here in one of their spacecraft. Because being enlightened beings, generally they're going to be a lot smarter than us. Because they're not going to spend a lot of time in their evolution killing one another over stupid stuff. Wars and everything, okay? So what they've done is they put their energy into making spaceships and interdimensional travel. So I still don't like this cat. I really don't like this cat. This cat doesn't work. That just didn't work. It doesn't always work the first time. I mean, you think I'm just putting stuff down here willy-nilly without any thought whatsoever? No. Everything that I do has a purpose. It's just that I make up the purpose as I go along. I'm thinking about this cat. And if these reflective beings are so... The problem is, I just realized, where's my brush? And the perception of what's cute, what's adorable would be totally different. Maybe you can make it out of latex or polymer so it's kind of soft. So they want something soft, like compared to dogs, we're kind of hard. So that the cat could have like some kind of different kind of soft exterior. Maybe that's made out of latex. So we're gonna do that. Maybe the cats aren't telepathic. But you see how adorable the cat is? That's the kind of pet they would like to have, I think. They've got high technology because they haven't spent their entire lives hurting people. They were able to look in at themselves and understand who they are. And they were able not to spend their time, basically being crazy and hurting other people. Something down here just isn't right. And what should I put down there? Like what should I put down there? Like, do they wear any clothes? I don't think they need to wear clothes. Because the clothes would get all, if they were like natural fiber, they would get all sticky with bone marrow juice. Like this, a shape like this. Right here. So that people can say, Manic Mark, you put another one of those things in your thing. And in fact, they would be right. So we're going to put a black shape here. You have no idea what I've said, but I like my painting quite a bit. I'm going to finish it up, and I'll put it on the screen. I'll put it on the screen, and then it'll be time to get some lunch. And what are we going to do? We're just going to call this the planet of reflective beings. This is the planet where beings, they're inside out compared to us. Everything's inside out, and it's like that so that they can look at themselves and they can understand themselves. So they're not going around hurting anyone else with misperceptions of what they think is going on around them. And they've got the brain on the outside, but they're protected with telekinesis, paranormal brain powers that can keep their brains from being damaged. They like cute little polymer-based pets, which they genetically designed. It's a designer pet. And they travel around in anti-gravity machines, and they still like having sex because sex is good. They're higher beings. They don't get into trouble, and they don't have wars, and they just get along. And they all wear high heel shoes. That's it. I'm finished. Thanks for stopping by.